Today's topic, of course, is green reading. I used to be an AimPoint certified instructor. What AimPoint is AimPoint is a green reading system. As you guys can see, I have a series of colored dots out there next to my ghost hole. Fossil Creek doesn't have holes in their green, so I use ghost holes or discs to putt. I don't like to putt to flags because if my ball hits it, I don't know how fast the ball's traveling in relation to the hole so that I can control my speed. So I use a disc or a ghost hole to putt to that's the exact width of a hole. The hole is 4 1/4 inches wide. So my ball can touch that, and if my ball touches that and is within 12 inches of the hole, it's most likely going in. So it allows me to see how far the ball rolls so I can control my speed, but it also allows me to read putts and actually look at something that kind of looks like what I would see out there, okay? My questions to you are, what makes the ball break? Slope, right? How much the ground is tilted or sloped from left to right as well as downhill and uphill helps determine whether or not it's slow or fast, right? What's the other piece to that though? Gravity. The reason why slope makes the ball break in certain directions is because of gravity. The ball is pulled downhill thanks to gravity, right? If I hit a ball fast enough, okay, this goes into your speed comment. If I hit a ball fast enough and it's usually not going to break as much as a ball that I hit slower. So greens that are faster, that we roll the ball slower, usually have more break than that of slower greens that we have to hit firmer, right? It's a friction thing and a speed thing. Okay, so there's a reason why my dots out here to the left of this cup are at different intervals, is based on the speed of the green, okay? So to give you guys a heads up, AimPoint uses a slope percentage system, meaning it teaches you how to feel with your feet slope grade. Essentially what it's teaching you is it's teaching you how to feel that in up to, I mean, good players can feel up to 0.5 to 1/4% increments. The furthest right markers in all 3 colors are a 1% slope, okay? The middle 2, or excuse me, the middle 3 are 2% and the outer 3 are 3%. Now you can see how I have white, black, and green. White is for an 8 stimp green. Black is for a 10. Green is for a 12. Now that influences the speed. A stimp meter is a tool that's a meter stick with a notch cut in it. Okay, and when you lift it up, you put a ball in the notch, and when you lift it up and it gets to a certain height, the ball rolls off the end of it. They measure the speed of the green from the end of the meter to where the ball stops. So it's measured in feet and inches, okay? So if I tell you that we're on an 8 stimp, that means that the greens are rolling 8 feet off a stimp meter. If it's a 10, that means they're rolling 10 feet. If they're 12, they're rolling 12 feet. The higher the number, the faster the green. If green is 12 and white is 8, you can see if I had a 3% slope here, my 12 speed green is going to break probably 1 foot to 13 inches more than the 8 stimp counterpart, right? So you can see there's a difference when it comes to how much break we play. This is a 12-foot putt, not every 12-footer is the exact same for break. Depending on the speed of the green, a 12-footer here that's flat might break more or less than if I was to go play Rockwood downtown. Those greens are usually really pure, but they're really slow. So a 12-foot putt there, a fast putt there is an 8. Here, a fast putt's 12. Okay, so that can be a big difference in how much break to play. What AimPoint does is it gives me a system in which to know exactly how much break to play. Digital level, these things are great. You can hit mode and actually put this in slope mode, okay, so that it will track slope percentage left and right. Some people's phones have a slope level. If your phone's not calibrated to 0, it can give you some really weird readings. I had 2015 vision when I learned how to use AimPoint. I've been using it now for over 11 years, and it's the only thing I use because my eyes can lie to me, okay? Architects can roll greens into slopes, put slopes near, and you can't see it, right? Your feet, however, your body has an internal gyroscope. So you can walk across a slope and you know how to lean into the slope so that you don't fall down the mountain, right? So when you use AimPoint, first thing I do is I measure my slope in 2 points, 1/3 and 2/3. So this putt is 12 feet. So 1/3 of the way would be 4 feet, right? 2/3 would be 8 feet. So I'm gonna measure my slope at 4 feet and 8 feet. And when I stand here, I am closing my eyes and letting gravity pull me to the low side, and whatever amount I feel, I've trained myself to feel how much percentage that really is, okay? So from right here, I get around a 1, maybe a little more. From 8 feet, I get around a 2. So which one do I play? I have one that's more and I have one that's less. The rule of thumb is always play the one that's going to influence it more. So if 2 is greater than 1 to 1.5, we're going to play the 2 because that slope is going to affect the ball roll more, right? Because it's a steeper slope, gravity is going to affect it more. Does that make sense? So in this case, we're going to select a 2. What that does is it tells me how many fingers to use. You get 1 finger per percentage digit. So if it was a 1, I would have used 1, 2, 3, 4. If I have to go 5 or 6, I start adding fingers. I've had to read putts where I move this hand over here and I move this hand over here before. So once we have that, we always start 12 inches behind the golf ball. So we put our toes 12 inches behind the golf ball. And then I'm going to extend my arm, and in this case, we're going to use 2 fingers. Now, the length of my arm determines how much speed. If you both put your arm out right in front of me right now, put 2 fingers up, okay, extend your arm. I want you to place your index finger on my ear. Now your other finger should be towards my eyes, correct? So now if you pull your arm towards yourself and get it closer to your eyes, did my head just disappear behind both fingers? When your arm moves closer to you, your aim point moves further outside the cup. So the arm bend directly determines how fast of a green you're playing. So when I'm playing a 12 step meter green, my arm is at a 90-degree bend, okay? And this is where I play my fingers from. If I was to go play Rockwood, Rockwood's a 7 or an 8. An 8 is completely extended. A 10 would be halfway in between. So each one of those sets of ball markers out there to indicate my aim point has been calibrated based off of a bend in the arm. Slow greens, medium greens, fast greens. If you watch tour pros and you actually watch them go through AimPoint, when they're at Augusta National, they read everything from right here in front of their eyes, versus when they go somewhere else like Colonial, the greens are probably an 11, their arm's out there. So if these were slow greens, I'd be aiming here. If these were medium greens, I'd be aiming there. And if these were fast greens, I'd be aiming here. So these become my aim points based on slope percentage and speed. Uphill putts play slower than downhill putts. On an uphill putt, might have to play that one. On a downhill putt, I might have to play that one, just depending on the severity of the slope. When I come back here, stand 12 inches behind the ball and extend my arm straight, if I held up 2 fingers, the low side is the center of the cup, so we know that this putt's going this way based off of the slope that I felt, okay? So I place the low side at the center of the cup, and out here is where I'm gonna aim, okay? So I place this at the center of the cup. If I was to extend my arm completely at an 8, that middle white ball marker is right here. If I bent my arm to a 10, there it is, and I place that same spot there, now it's moved to the black one. All right, so how do we know what the stemp of the green is, okay? Well, the good thing is regardless of speed of green, a 2 is a 2 is a 2, right? Regardless of where you're at, a 2% slope is the same whether I'm playing fast greens or slow greens. So I've got a golf ball down, right? So I already have felt the fact that I'm gonna play a 2 on my Stimp meter, or on my direction, right? So then I line up, put 2 arms out at an 8, walk up, put my first one down, walk back, bend it 90 degrees for a 2. Then I can come back and go with my 10 or my medium, which is right there roughly. So now I can step back here and I can actually start with my low one. So if I lined this up at the white one, right, and hit a putt, okay, so I hit it really firm and it went in, but it went almost 2 feet past the hole, right? Now if I aimed at the higher one, there we go. I can get it to go in, but I have to hit it really soft to do it, right? So how do I know which speed is correct? Whichever one I line up and I can roll a few putts the right speed and get them to go right over the center of that hole. So let me line up that high one again. That was better. It's like I hit a good putt and it's gonna be just outside the hole because I played too much break. Even if I hit that a fraction harder, because that tried to die in, if I'm gonna play a lot of break, that's kind of how I have to get the ball to the holes. I have to let it die almost straight down the hill. So if I line this up at the black spot and I can control this, where I hit this between 9 and 12 inches past the center of the hole, that ball's gonna go in. That might have dropped, might have lipped out with just a little bit of firm speed. That one hit something and kind of wobbled, but still got in there. So when I came out and tested this, I told myself, I was like, I kind of feel it too, but let's do this speed drill anyway, just to find out what the green speed's running so that I know which one to play. And I've settled on these greens are rolling somewhere around a 10, which is pretty typical for what this golf course usually gives you.